To capitalize on growing demand for imported pork in the Philippines, the U.S. Meat Export Federation, supported by the Pork Checkoff, promoted U.S.-branded product for the first time in Philippine wet markets. The Philippine government opened the door to more pork exports by temporarily raising quotas and lowering tariffs after African Swine Fever swept through the domestic herd.
When the Philippines had an outbreak of ASF, as you know, the supply of local pork has declined. And the government's plan is to actually import more so that they could stabilize the prices of pork in the market.
While USMEF continues to highlight U.S. pork in the Philippines' growing supermarket sector, this series of promotions focused on traditional wet markets, where large volumes of pork are purchased by both end users and local restaurant owners.
Traditional markets or wet markets, or how we call it in Filipino as palengkes, continue to be a strong trade channel for many Filipinos, most especially during the pandemic, when many lost their jobs and had to find a cheaper source of food. Well, prices of items, especially food in wet markets, are a lot cheaper than supermarkets. For meat, it is around 20 to 30% lower, and it can even go lower when customers buy in bulk. Now, Filipinos have this culture or love for bargaining, so they negotiate for more discount, and wet market is the right place for this.
USMEF started by surveying customers and shop owners about attitudes and availability of U.S. pork, then turned to labeling and showcasing U.S. pork products in those wet markets.
So we tried to cook different Filipino dishes using U.S. pork so that they could have a taste of it and have that experience of that U.S. pork, and then eventually buy again in their next visit to look for U.S. pork. So it's basically creating demand at the same time providing information to the wet market vendors so that we could increase the sales or the placement of U.S. pork in wet market.
U.S. pork exports were up 68% by volume and 78% in value in 2021 over the previous year. Given the positive response by consumers, wet market promotions are set to expand to new regions of the country in 2022, extending beyond the Manila metro area. For more about the U.S. Meat Export Federation and our work around the world, visit us on social media or at usmef.org.